Hello there, beautiful humans and beautiful souls. How are you doing? Today is a special day. There's lots of beautiful energy coming through, and I'm really feeling the clearing of the fog. So, welcome to Feeling Funky, how understanding our galactic origins help us shape our new Earth reality. I am RozyGlow, RozyGlow Hannis. I am a co-creatress of Paradise Earth, also a galactic psychic and intuitive, and I'm a soul-led change maker, and I guide awakening star seeds like you, empaths, light workers, to detox and reprogram their early life karma drama, the bloodline toxicity that fogs the way so that they can actually access their superpowers. You can access your superpowers, live your dream life, and activate and fulfill your soul mission. So if this is something that sounds exciting to you and it's resonating, then do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please also do hit the notifications tab and put all videos, because I often do lives rather than upload videos. So you get to see every time I'm sharing a transmission, a cosmic download, because there's lots coming through presently. And I have just been through a huge upgrade, which I'll be talking about in a second. I've actually put some notes down so I can stick to script and not go too far off tangent, because when you're talking about these amazing things, it's very easy to do that. So I do just want to welcome you with my heart. I want to welcome you with my soul, and just sending you some light and love code transmissions through my eyes. So you're very welcome to receive those if you like. The Paradise Earth codes are there for each of us to activate. They're there for each of us to remember. They are our birthright. They're in our bodies. They're in our energy frequency. They're also in the earth beneath us. And if it's something you'd like to explore more about, please do check out my upcoming retreat on the beautiful island of Santorini, which is all about divine human integration and accessing these Paradise Earth codes right where Atlantis was meant to have been in its origins. Of course, Atlantis is huge. There are different places that parts of Atlantis are said to have been. But if you're feeling that call, do let me know. I'll put the link in the text box below, as well as all the different ways you can contact me. But let's get to business. So, just how does us discovering our galactic origins help us to access our soul purpose and co-create our new Earth reality? Well, stay tuned to find out, because I'm really going to unpack this and get you excited about the fact that on Sunday, which is in 2 days' time, I'm going to be sharing with you a wonderful video with a phenomenal Sarah Davies, who is a galactic astrologer herself. And honestly, working with her really supported me to get really clear on the direction that I most needed to go in. So I'm going to share with you a little bit more about that. When we are here and we're activating our 5D frequencies, our superpowers, there are many different ways that we can fulfill our soul purpose. And depending on how much we have cleared the sort of toxic imprints of our bloodlines, which we take on purpose in order to support our bloodlines to evolve. We do this as a gift of service. It's not meant to be a gift of self-sacrifice, but somewhere on the way, we actually forget that we're here to remember our mastery. So actually connecting to galactic astrology, which is different to the astrology that you may be aware of. It's much more to do with the star constellations that we originally come from, or at least the star constellations that as souls we have spent time learning and growing in. Just like we're here on Earth as part of this solar system, this planet is part of this solar system and part of the Milky Way galaxy. There are other galaxies that we have traveled in our lifetimes. I've discovered myself, for example, that I have at least 6 different star constellations, star families that come through the light language that I speak. And I only started speaking light language about 18 months ago. So when I got ready to receive this level of myself, superpower mastery, it started to come through. And at this present time, it's why I'm calling myself a galactic psychic and intuitive, because all the shifts that have gone on in my life have allowed me to really access more of my capacity to tune into the field, to tune into the psychic powers that I actually have, and to truly trust them. And again, galactic astrology played a big part in this, because as I came to understand that I've spent many lifetimes in sort of feminine orientated civilizations as I have in masculine orientated civilizations, I have also spent all of my incarnations as a soul essentially on a spiritual quest. So this has been part of my essence, if you like, from the very start, that I separated from Source and decided that I needed to discover who and what I was in order to reunite from the perspective of celebrating my individuality within the collective oneness. Now, you will know that I am sharing something with you that is of relevance when you get the tingles, when you get a little bit of a buzzing in your head, or maybe a warmth in your heart, or you feel, your whole body start to awaken to what I'm saying. So please do take note. And if that happens for you, please mention it in the comments. I'd love to know who is here as my soul family. I truly do believe everyone who comes across this channel, whether it's by accident or through a friend, is here on purpose, and we are all part of the same consciousness, which is Star Peace Utopia. And I have changed the name of this channel from RozyGlow to Star Peace Utopia because I am here now as a channel of divine grace through RozyGlow to activate the Star Peace codes in those who are ready, to bring the message to humanity through all those that I share their stories and interview on this channel, that in our universe, the light has already won. The war is over. Star Wars, the time of being in battle and duality is over. It is now time for Star Peace. And it's about learning more about what that actually means, because peace is a dynamic state. It's not about just being peace and that's it. It's how do we create peace in conflict? How do we use, the requirement? Like, conflict has its place, right? The whole point of it is we seek reunion, we seek resolution when we experience something that doesn't feel in resonance. However, most of us have got really stuck in the battle. We got stuck in the fight. And there are so many change makers on this world that are doing the very best they can to bring about change. But I say this with the utmost love, beloved ones. If we keep focused on fighting, we're only ever going to fight. We need to start considering what the solution is, what is beyond the fight, what's on the other side. And that's why I'm so excited to share with you a series of interviews with wonderful souls, all star seeds, who are already co-creating the new earth through the work that they're doing. Perhaps they're authors, perhaps they're executive producers, creating entertainment and content in this world that's inspiring something new for all of us. Maybe light workers, coaches, empaths like me, who are doing the work of unlocking the potential in the humans that are ready to truly download their soul consciousness. And of course, with wonderful beings like Sarah, who are sharing their intuitive wisdom, their ability to read the energies of those that come to them and these past lives, or they're not really past because everything's happening in the now, but the different ways that our multidimensional nature exists in different planes, in different dimensions, and to bring that awareness to us. So we know we are currently in a huge energetic shift, okay? We're at the moment, for most star seeds, so you might not see yourself as a star seed yet, you might consider yourself an empath or a light worker or someone who's awakening. But essentially, we're all being called to drop our 3D density. So that's going to have manifested as addictions. It's going to have manifested as patterns of behavior, expectations, worry, stress, struggle, staying in the trying paradigm, struggling to change, fighting for change. And we can't take any of that with us. So we're all being called presently to drop the dross. Now, this has manifested for me, particularly in dropping physical habits that I had adopted very young in my life, that actually have served me. They have protected me. They have kept a little buffer for my sensitivities and this world. But it's come to the point that where I am on this journey, I can't take any more of it with me. So in particular, this was about smoking. Now, I think I really want to address shame amongst light workers and empaths and starseeds and all those things you feel you need to hide, because if people knew about it, maybe they'd feel that you weren't that good at what you do, that you're not really worthy of your accolades, of your success, of whatever's going on for you. So I just want to be really transparent with this, because I've had a very colourful past, and it's what allows me to be empathetic and compassionate to everyone that I work with, everyone that I guide on their journey. You can't really embody your light fully if you don't embrace your shadow. So for me, the first time I smoked, I was 8 years old. And it was definitely as a result of maternal neglect, parental neglect, you could say. But I started to smoke habitually at the age of 16. on a sort of regular daily basis, and it became a part of my life, really. I'm 44 now, and it's only really just dropped out of my energy field and my physical being fully. However, it was very low lying. It was not something that like I was chugging away 20 a day or anything like that, but that allowed me to believe it was okay to keep going. And I spent a long time praying to have the willingness, the desire to let this habit go. I had to stop demonizing it and making it a bad thing and just love myself anyway, and love the part of me that felt she wasn't even worthy of the air that she breathed, the oxygen that she breathed, enough to get to the point that my higher self could step in and go, sweetheart, we're not doing this anymore. So I'm sharing this with you. I would love to know, if you want to share in the comments, if you feel like you can, what is it at the moment you're being impulsed to let go of? What are the habits that are important for you to release? For me, with the letting go of the smoking, there's also been letting go of refined sugar. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of it, but I do like the chocolate, especially the organic chocolate. I am drinking ceremonial grade cacao, but essentially, it's those little self-medicating habits that when I actually stopped and went, okay, why am I doing this? It was about managing stress or suppressing the stress that I was actually feeling. Now, when you start to connect to your galactic origins, what happens is you bring more and more of your soul light in. So it's going to reflect where there is shadow elements that are not being addressed. And this is not about forcing change, beloved ones. It's about being willing to change and calling on the support to change. One of the things I did for many years was bless everything that I knew I needed to release with love. Like, I bless you with love and willingly release you from the role you're playing in my life. I used to say that every time I knew I was consuming something that perhaps wasn't the very best thing I could take into my body, right? And that's from Louise Hay. Please use it, make it work for you, and just keep calling in the guidance. I used to go up and ask the stars just to support me to actually let go. Now, in order for me to let go, I had ancestral lineage issues, particularly around my paternal grandfather, who, was a gambler, was a smoker, was a drinker, was a womanizer. He was in my energy field. He had a lot of regret, a lot of shame, a lot of suppressed sense of undeserving that needed to be worked through in order for me to fully release his habits from my being. Because this is the point, is when we come in as star seeds, we're here to progress our bloodlines. And typically we take on the habits, we take on the behaviors that are the toxic behaviors that need to be released in order for us to seek the solution, remember our mastery, and then let it go. So I'm sharing this. I would love to hear from you what you're ready to let go of, because where we're going, we're not taking it with us. You cannot take lack of any form into the new earth that we are co-creating. Now, lack is unworthiness, undeserving. I'm not enough, right? All the levels that say on some level you're not okay to have what you want have to come up to be addressed. So could be beliefs, addictions, behaviors, and expectations. Be very, very aware of how you think and what you say, because they'll tell you everything you need to know. So for me, I've already just explained what happened, and it was actually, I got sick. What happened for me as part of my current upgrade, and this is something I talk about a lot in my coaching, is I ended up with an infection through a tooth, which has been an issue that's been going on for years, but it ended up with my throat internally swelling up. I had an abscess in my throat, which meant the whole of my left side was about receiving support and guidance, asking for help, was absolutely inflamed internally. It came to the point, because I don't like hospitals or needles, that I had to accept the help of the 3D world, the A&E, that is casualty or emergency, wherever you are in this world of hospitals, and go in, because I didn't think I was going to wake up the next day if I actually tried to go to sleep. So I had to be that scared to get the help that I needed. And through that process of facing the fears that I had and going and asking for help, I was able to see what really needed to happen. And I did ask my beloved to support me, to actually help me to stay true and strong to what I knew I had to do. And since I came back out of hospital, which was only overnight, I've made some promises to myself that I've kept. So this is very, very important. Okay, accountability. If you want to feel trusted in life, you have to trust yourself, and you have to say and do what you mean. If you say you do something and then you don't do it, basically builds this belief inside of you that you're a liar and therefore you're unworthy. And again, I'm saying this because as we do connect more and more to our star origins, we will see more and more where we're out of alignment with what we say we want and where we say we're going. Because if something hasn't manifested in your life yet, whether that's more money, whether that's your twin flame love, whether that's vibrant health, it's because there's a part of you that's resisting it, that doesn't want it and is sabotaging it. And you can't hate that part of you. You can't cut it off. To embrace it, bring it in. And this is when everything expands, because if on some level you are hiding, you don't want to be seen, you feel like you're not worthy, you're going to suppress yourself and you're not going to be able to achieve what you truly are here to achieve. So let's talk a little bit about these origins. Now, what happened for me is I had to go through a big clearing of the heart chakra and the throat chakra. And for years, I haven't known whether I should be highly visible with my message or not. I didn't know whether I should just be behind the scenes because perhaps that was going to be safer for me and all those I love, or whether I should just go, you know what, here I am. And it was through the galactic readings that I had with Sarah that it became really clear I needed to be highly visible. So what was holding me back from being highly visible? There's so much Jupiter in my chart. There's something about the great attractor that she told me about. And it's like, you need to be seen. This has to be done. Like, be big, be bold, get your message out there. But I was scared. I had fears around being persecuted, being judged, being ridiculed. You know, as a child, my human self was essentially bullied, made fun of, both as a young child, as an innocent, and as a teenager, by those who knew no better, those who I would say are not particularly happy themselves and pretty suppressed, but it hurt. Okay. So I was a bit scared about getting out there, truth be told, and, you know, sharing my star piece message, sharing the stuff that can seem really incredulous for people that are not tapped into their super conscious, but are only tapped into their 3D consciousness, which is what the five senses can compute. And, you know, this whole thing in this world today, prove it, that's when I'll believe it. That's what we need to flip around, because as co-creators of our reality, we need to believe it before we see it. And we might understand that on some level, but there will still be bits of us that resist it for lots of reasons. So for a long time now, I do offer online multidimensional yoga. And I say this because that's the starting point for many people to activate their light bodies. And I always start the sessions with 3 sounds, with the sound to activate the earth chakra, the sound to activate the soul chakra, and the sound to activate the divine matrix through the heart. Okay. Now, soul and earth chakras are essential for yoga. Now, if you are practicing yoga and you're only working with a 7 chakra system, you are going to be stuck in the 4th dimension. You can't really access your 5D superpowers. So if this is new to you, there'll be a link in the text box where you can come and join me for some online yoga. And even if you can't actually join me live, we have a replay library. So when you pay monthly, you get access to 2 online sessions a week live with me, where you can catch the replay. And we always work multidimensionally, and you'll discover what that means as you come and join me. So it's very bespoke. This is yoga that I've developed through years and years of being a teacher myself, both in, you know, working more with women's yoga and fertility and pregnancy and birth and postnatal, and also working with high performance athletes who are typically men that were attracted to me, and bringing everything together, which is primarily a tantric path, but utilizing these other 2 chakras to anchor our light bodies. And the point is, every time that I was actually making these sounds, it was very clear there was a real wobble in my voice for months and months. It was clear that something was off and needed to be cleared. So in this process of self-inquiry, as I went through this process and I went through this healing and cleared the habits that needed to be released from my being and transmuted, the sounds are so clear right now. They're like, whoa, right there. No wobbling, no running out of breath. Very, very solid, very strong. And they're activating the divine architecture of my body. So all of us are having some form of healing and clearing in some 1, 2, maybe 3 of our chakras, because in order for us to embody more of our soul light, we need to strengthen them. As you can hear, I ain't too scared these days of being vocal. So our galactic origins are our star family origins. And as I said, I'll be kicking off a series of interviews here on Star Peace Utopia, with a deep exploration of what galactic astrology is and how it can support us to remember why we are here, what we have come here to do, which is to co-create a new reality through the power of our imagination and through clearing our bloodline ancestral dramas that keep us stuck. Constant cycles of karma and drama. Some of you will know this as intergenerational trauma. Others will just know it as history repeating itself. Now, how do our galactic origins relate to our pre-birth, birth, and early life influences? Well, our earliest life influences determine whether we are easily manipulated or not by the forces that seek to dominate and control us. You may have noticed that this world isn't really a level playing field, right? It doesn't play fair. From the moment you're born basically expected to, in some way, earn your place on this earth. And I feel like as a collective, we're kind of realizing that the powers that be, whatever they may be, so those that we bow to as external authority, are a bit similar to really dysfunctional, unhealthy, and abusive parent, mother and father. Okay, like we're basically told that we should do as we're told, that we should trust these beings. I'm not even going to say too much about them, but you know who I'm talking about. Anything that you tap into in the mainstream communication channels, things you read, you listen to, you watch, you talk about, you inform yourself with, starts right back very early in life when we start going to places that educate us. Doing a lot of this for a reason. And essentially, we at some point have to wake up and go, how much of what we've been taught is actually true? How much of what we're told is actually true? And part of this journey of awakening is realizing so much of it is distorted. Even if there is a little seed of truth in it, it's got a whole load of stuff around it that is not true. And part of our process is awakening from the slumber of delusion and illusion, of just buying into what we're told without questioning. This is part of the soul's journey. And it's why this planet is so good for activating our consciousness. But the important thing for us to remember is, yes, we are living in an era which has been going on for a very, very long time, which is all about manipulation, control, and distortion of truth. Now, how much of this is intentional? How much of this is on purpose? Well, it kind of is. You know, the truth is that there has been this battle in our universe, in our solar system in particular, this duality battle between good and evil, between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And each and every one of us as human beings are basically conduits of energy. So I've got here a piece of selenite. So you can imagine you have this inner lightsaber, which is like an acupuncture needle. And we are each vessels and also conduits of energy. Now, what is the frequency that we are transmitting? It depends what we are tuned into. So my expertise is really to do with pre-birth influences, even preconception, our birth, and also our earliest life. And essentially, we're either wired to survive or thrive. So if you want to like really easily manipulate and control the population, the first place to start is in these early influences. Now, do I believe that your average obstetrician or midwife or, you know, health worker is seriously intending to cause malicious intent? Absolutely not. But how much are they just buying into a system they've never questioned? They just do as they're told. And even if they've got that sense that something could be different, they don't follow it because it's not worth the job. It's not worth the potential problems they may have in their workplace. Just do as you're told, right? Get paid, go home, pay the bills, feed your family. It's understandable, but each and every one of us on our journey into sovereignty has to make a choice and say, not on my watch, sweetheart, not through me. And, you know, the question is, who is influencing them? So let me come back to my script. Are these forces external or internal? Well, I think it's really helpful to open to the idea that they are both. Are we wired to survive or thrive? There are non-physical beings that work through us, as I said, and they're either of loving or nefarious intent. So you can think in terms of the movie Star Wars, there are, you know, intergalactic beings. I believe those of the forces of light, I'll call them ETs. Those of the forces of darkness, I'll call aliens, just for us to separate the two. And by all means, take this as a story. Take it with a pinch of salt. Take it however you like, okay? Take it as an archetypal exploration. Doesn't matter. Your soul knows the truth. So our own energy, our own frequency determines what we're plugged into. Most of us are wired to survive rather than thrive because we're living in a world that's fear propelling. We're addicted to fear, we're addicted to adrenaline. Like, it's not conscious, but we seek out that which is familiar, even if it's not comfortable. So if our time in the womb, in general, most of the hormonal biofeedback we received was adrenaline based or stress hormone based rather than oxytocin and parasympathetic dominant base, so chilled, relaxed, feeling optimistic, feeling loved, feeling supported, feeling held. Like, how many of us feel like that most of the day? Like, we've got to get to work on time, we've got to get the job done, we might have other children we've got to send to school. Are we feeling well supported by a partner? Do they actually understand us? Have we got enough money? What is it that we've been told by the health professional we've gone to worry about this week? What about our birth choices? Is it going to be okay? All that stuff. Right? Never mind the wider collective and the things that have gone on in this world for the last couple of years. But essentially, we are basically going to be wired to survive or thrive. And as a result of that, what we look out for in the world, what we perceive, is going to feed our narrative, feed our story, feed this baseline. Now, it's no one's fault. Please do not blame your mother, your father, or anyone in your ancestry. Okay, this is not a blame approach. This is about us deciding to clean up the mess, whatever mess is there, and to know that at any point in life, when you make a conscious choice to clear what is there, you can totally reform it. It takes time, patience, practice, commitment, right? But you can do it. We all do it. That's exactly why I offer the coaching programs I do, and I do the healing work that I do, and I work with people at the highest level so that ultimately this information can be sent through to everyone and can be supported so we can work from the top, from the bottom, and create the change we want. Now, like acupuncture needles, we are conduits of whatever energy we're tuned into. We absorb it and we feed it to the earth, and we transmit it through our energy fields to those around us. So a little note on evil, because I had to do a little bit of tuning in on this with my Galactic teachers. And basically, I think it's helpful to say that, yeah, there is such a thing as evil, but what is it? It is the absolute absence of love and light. There are beings on this planet that are essentially beyond repair. There's so much damage in their own experience that they're so easily manipulated. So coming back to this idea of how we're wired to survive or thrive, coming into whether we go through horrendous experiences in early life, maybe early enough in the womb, or maybe after. We might have been through rape, we might have been through torture, we might have been through abuse, we might have witnessed horrendous crimes. Never mind the things we see on TV, and never mind the things we're exposed to before we even realize it's going into our subconscious. But in the end, this can make us, in my experience, in my intuitive understanding, more open to the non-physical beings that feed off fear or feed off love. And as a result of that, we become more and more manipulated and controlled by the beings that would like to keep this planet into a state of slavery, in a state of, like the Matrix movies. Okay, I don't need to go further into it. You can watch those movies if you haven't already, and they'll tell you everything you need to know. As Bruce Lipton says, and I agree, they're not actually they're not movies, they're not fiction, they're documentaries. They tell us a lot about what's going on in the world. So this whole thing about evil is that the damage that these beings have gone through means that they've been taken over by entities, whether you call them aliens or non-physical beings in the astral plane, that literally turn them into what looks like solid dark matter. I see it as like a black stone, like literally just like, I don't mean like onyx, I don't mean like a crystal, I mean literally devoid of light. Perhaps like tar might be another example, but I see this as real, like dense, thick, non-light, non-love matter. And it's impenetrable, devoid of the light and the love, because pain and hatred has taken over, and there's absolutely no desire for love to win. Now, please note, if you have been through something unpleasant, it can be incredibly difficult to forgive. And the first thing is to accept. There may be things that just you feel like on some level, the part of you that went through it will never be able to forgive it. And that's okay. It's part of our soul's growth to accept where we're at. We can't force change. But what can happen is this: the light can and does penetrate that matter. And so, though the being may be beyond repair, And there are plenty of beings on this planet that I would say are walking around. And I wonder where their souls are, if they ever had one. Clearly, blatantly lying. Not only that, but demanding coercion, demanding that we believe them, that we listen to them, that we do what we're told, that good citizens, good people will do so, even though later on we find out that they're then scapegoated, and it's clear that they weren't being honest in what they were saying. But essentially, what ends up happening is the light and the love does penetrate this matter. So though this being in its current consciousness, careful what I'm saying, is destroyed, because they just can't actually ever clear it, their being is returned to their divine essence. This is the process. Is if you can imagine that light is a higher frequency than dense matter. So if you bring light to something, even if it's devoid of all light and it's just like seems impenetrable, the light will go in and it will dissolve it, and it will basically fragment it. It will change its nature. So what it is as it is will be destroyed, but it will be returned to the stardust particles of light and love, because that's what goes through, and that is what basically creates like an explosion. So yes, in these instances when we have a being beyond repair, in essence, there's no saving, right? There's no transmuting is the energy I'm looking for. Through the energy of light and love going into and around this incredible density, there is like an explosion that allows everything to be returned to the microscopic particles of pure infinite love. And in so doing, we returned to our original nature. That's what I've been shown. Particles of stardust. So at this time, we're seeing even in the mainstream channels of communication just how much we've been manipulated, played and lied to. Not only are we fed absolute nonsense, I'm using these words on purpose, regarding well-being and health by those that we are told we can trust and only wish to protect us, but we're also coming to see that the last 2 years and all that we've been told good people should do for the greater good is not only pure poppycock, but also blatant mistruth. It's coming out. Just look at the papers, look at the tabloids, look at the fact that actually those people that we were told we should listen to not so long ago are now writing books, making money from being exposed, their lies being exposed. So they're still basically getting away with it on some level, but they're the scapegoats that we pin all of our hate and our resentment and anger onto. And, we're very quick to forget. History repeats itself for a reason. So beware. And also beware of wanting to hate on others. Beware of wanting to judge and to punish, because that is in you something that's dark that's taking over. Seek light, seek love, seek forgiveness, seek compassion, and above all else, seek discernment, so that we don't make the same choices again in the future. It's like we are suddenly realizing we've been born to very dysfunctional and abusive parents. So I've said that. Now, this isn't new, and we must ask the question, is the raw truth something that humanity en masse can handle? Yes, the truth does set us free, but it will scare the shit out of us first, right? So those in deep fear and anger do crazy things. And there are at least 7.7 billion of us on the planet apparently now. So is being jolted awake going to be potentially the healthiest thing for humanity? Is it going to create grace and ease? Are there potentially dire consequences as a result of this? And can we choose and desire to bring truth to light as gently as possible? This is why I'm so passionate about the role of the imagination, and actually the role of entertainment, and in particular storytelling. I'm not saying media, because media is trying to tell us truth, facts, but that doesn't really go in. We need to engage the limbic brain. We need to feel safe enough to receive something new. So storytelling is the key, my friends. And that means what we read for fun, what we listen to for fun, what we watch for fun. Those of you who are creating content, pay attention. If you have not yet cleared your karma drama, your bloodline trauma, then you're going to be creating from your programming, which I call ego programming, but it's essentially limiting conditioning, probably from your pain body on some level, putting something out there, wanting to change the world, wanting to change people's mindset, but doing so from a point that actually the vibrational set point that you're emitting isn't the highest frequency. It's not coming from your higher self. So I work with those of you who are ready to put your soul in control, to put your higher self in control of your creations. And if you want to know more about that, please head to my website, rosannahannis.com, because it's all designed to support you to see what's required and the different offerings that I have. So we want to be careful about awakening, okay? We want to be making sensible decisions. We want to remember that this kind of misrepresentation of truth has been going on for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, you could say, but certainly for the last 9,000 years, okay? So let's be sweet with how we wake up. I am going to be interviewing a series of phenomenal beings doing wonderful work in this world who are solution focused, because I see a lot of us are banging the drum of the problem. We're well-meaning, we're change makers, but we're wounded, right? We're not healed from our trauma enough to be able to seek the solution. We're just addressing the problem, saying there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. And if you keep focusing on problems, you create more problems. So we need those of us who are ready to start dreaming up and talking about the solutions. We know the problem. What do we want instead? So those who I'm interviewing are those who are focused on the solution. And where am I going with this? They're doing wonderful work in this world. And rather than dwelling on the problems in our current reality and making them worse, they're actually starting to speak about how things could be in our new earth paradigm. That's what this channel is all about now. It's through our imagination that we co-create a whole new desired reality into being. Learning about our galactic origins can really help us to do that. And also to access what's in our unconscious that influences our subconscious. Therefore, we can start to access, reprogram that so that we can actually create new choices and lead from our superconscious, our higher selves, rather than that old programming. Now, this is the Star Peace mission, should you choose to accept it. We all have a part to play. The old game of life is over. Okay, the chess game of duality, it's done. We're now activating the game of the Paradise Earth puzzle. So every one of us is a unique puzzle piece in the co-creation of Paradise Earth. We come here to activate this puzzle piece through our divine essence, to take our place, to know those that are gathered around us that we feel a resonance with are the adjoining puzzle pieces. If someone's got a good message, but you just don't resonate with them, don't worry. They're probably somewhere on the other side of the puzzle, maybe opposite, maybe another corner. They're still necessary. Is still part of this unification that is required for humanity to support the ascension of our planet. Now, for those of you who are here to be part of the healing of this planet, it is essential that you are cleared from the lack and limitation conditioning, which is your ego programming and keeps you locked in a misplaced sense of loyalty to the ancestral karma drama of your bloodlines. Hello, that's all of us, okay? It is not your truth, and it really doesn't matter how long you've been on this ascension path or working on yourself, okay? All of us are working on ourselves for life. Okay, we're not here to go, I should be much further along now because I've been doing this for 30 years. Yeah, we're all going to be doing it. What's key is that there are certain parts of this journey that we cannot do on our own. This journey of remembering, there's so much you can do that is self-reliant, but there are certain points where you're going to have to accept that you cannot see your own blind spots. And so it is essential to trust others. It is part of our healing. And those you trust are those who you feel a resonance with. Could be me, could be another teacher. You feel a resonance with, and they have something you want. Maybe they're in a sacred union. Maybe they've overcome lack and limitation. Maybe they've overcome health conditions. Maybe they've got really clear on their life purpose. They've got something you want, and they are then offering you a solution for you to actually have what you want. You're going to have to stretch yourself. You're going to have to believe it's worth investing in yourself. You're going to have to get out of the idea that you can't and start looking at how you can, because when you look for solutions, you will find them. When you decide to buy into the programming that says it's not safe to change, which is part of our instincts, you will always look for reasons to stay the same. We cannot stay in victim consciousness. Okay, we cannot create the new earth paradigm from victim consciousness. It's not going to work. So it's very important to address wherever you feel like you are powerless, where you have no control, where you have no ability to overcome something. Now, let's be clear. If you haven't got a limb, you haven't got a limb. You can't grow a new limb. I'm not talking here about like the impossible in terms of physical matter. We're here in a physical reality. We can transmute illness. We can transform sickness into health, okay? But we have to be very aware that a lot of the miracles I talk about are shifts in perception that allow the impossible to become possible because we've shifted our perception. I'm not in the place where I can raise the dead, I have to be honest, right? Knowing where the limiters are allows me to see where I have the potential for growth, and that's going to be the same for you too. Where am I going? So your soul knows if this message resonates, okay? And if it's feeling true, it is your time to activate your divine human consciousness. You'll be feeling it in your body, and you will know it as I'm speaking. So this is your signal to listen up. I'm going to be inviting you right now to book a call. If you look at the text box below, you'll see that there is a call link that you can actually use if you're ready for change. You know, levels of investment start from like around $50 for this monthly yoga, going right up to over 100K for one-to-one work with me and, you know, my team. The sky's the limit, right? But in between, there's lots and lots of different layers. So it's about you being willing to do something. If you're willing to do something and to be creative about the resources you can access, then it's time for you to book that call. It's a free call. No one's going to push you into anything. I'm just going to let you know where you are, where you want to be, and what's potentially in the way. What's going to happen if you don't actually make the choices that are required, because all that happens is the suffering gets worse until we're willing to take the risk of change rather than actually staying the same. Okay. It's important. So the call is free, and you're going to find out exactly what is required for you to step beyond the current limitations of your life, access more of your superpowers, create the conditions your human self requires to thrive, and get on with fulfilling the next stage of your soul mission. Once upon a time, I ran a yoga business. Then I was a coach. Now I'm a channel of divine grace, and I'm working on transmitting the frequencies to those who are ready. I'm an author. I'm putting lots of stuff out into this world, and I'm a galactic healer and psychic. I had no idea 10 years ago that was going to be my path. I had no idea Star Peace was going to come about, or I'd be working on the level I am with people in the entertainment industry. You just got to keep an open heart and be willing to follow the shifts as they occur. So please note, if you are someone watching this now and you're like, I ain't got a pot to piss in, I have not got any extra resources to be able to invest in anything, that's okay. Join our mailing list. Go to RozyGlow.com, join our mailing list. We have a whole heap of free resources that if you use them, and you do use them, okay, because things work if you work them, then you're going to be able to get yourself out of those first rungs of lack and limitation, including financial lack, so that you can start to invest in the next level of your solution. Now, bear in mind this one thing, beloved one: procrastination, fear of success. If you are a procrastinator, that's okay. I have a saying that I say with my clients it's like, just get in the back of the fucking car. It's like when you talk to a teenager who's been misbehaving and you're like, you just need to get in the car now. We're going wherever we need to go. We're doing it. So what this means to the procrastinator self is we're going to take a step in the direction anyway of our growth. We're going to do it, even if it's just to ping that email, make that connection, and then I'll open my inbox and see what delights are available to me. Because as you shift your perception of the world around you and yourself, the world around you and your inner world change. So you are not the you that is feeling like a failure. You are not the you that feels like you've never have enough. That's just conditioning. Okay, you're going to need to challenge it religiously. When I say religiously, I mean all the time. You're going to need to challenge it to the point that it stops being your truth. I can't remember who I was 20 years ago. All right. I know that version of me was in a lot of pain. And I know that I've had to go through a lot of self-doubt, self-hatred, self-denial to get to the place that I can speak here with an open heart with you. And I know how scary it is to affect change. I know how scary it is to book a call, to sign up in the direction of something you want to go in. I get it. But you know what? Everything you want is on the other side of that fear. It's not here. The you that you want to be, the you that is your galactic self activated in your human body, can only really come to life by you daring to take a risk to be more than you are now, to know, who am I? You ask that question, who am I? Who is the version of me that doesn't do this anymore? Who is the version of me that doesn't live in lack and actually believe that that's who I am, right? So many of us identify with our limitations. We think they are who we are. Our self-identity is built on them. You're a being of love and light, sweetheart. You're here to affect phenomenal change in this world by affecting phenomenal change in your own life. So Look out for the video that I'll be posting on Sunday, and you're going to meet the lovely Sarah. Then I'm going to start to introduce a whole load of other wonderful beings doing wonderful work in this world. In between, I will pepper this channel with other lovely musings like the one today. In the meantime, if you want some real activation content, then please do join my Manifesting Star Peace Utopia Facebook group. This is where I now post my full moon world service, my personal healing and light language transmissions, and other activations that support you to know about masterclasses I'm doing and other things that I actually have on offer. So head over there, find out about the retreat if you'd like to know more. Just have a look at the text box. Everything is there. If you're ready to book a call and do some serious work, we have a Divine Matrix upgrade that is a 6-month process that leads you into a 12-month container if you wish. It's all there for you. All you have to do is say yes. I love you. Big hugs. Happy Friday. Have a good one, and I'll speak with you soon. And if you like this video, please do comment, please do like, please do share. This is how we make wonderful things happen in the world. Ta-ra for now.